Hello, everybody. Welcome to Pontiac Power Hour. I am Buff from Buff's Garage.
And I am Ray from Punisher Lamont's Garage.
Are you sure?
I think so.
All right. As you guys can tell, I'm mobile because I'm at work, but so as long as the internet holds out, I'll hang in as long as I can. But I'm going to hit the chat real quick. Now, I know Danny Boyd was here early, but it fell off the chat. That's just how these live streams go. But following up quick after that was ASO, Sand Mountain Ballistics. As always, Hunter cannot miss. And he seems super excited for the talk tonight. Got Mr. Polo C4, and Danny Boyd is back. There he is. Mongrel's Garage is here. Hopefully we can warm you up a little bit, buddy, because it was like 80 degrees a couple days ago. We got Tony K, Unfinished Project, Fox Can Fix It, Colleen Tebow, Torque Racing Production, fellow Roland, and Hunter's telling everybody hi. He's like the unofficial co-host of the show. He's always here.
Speaking of Roland, I need to get a hold of him, have him make me a emblem for my car. That dude is really talented.
He's got some skills, I'm telling you. All right, who else is here? I see JB's Little Shop and Nathan's Mopar Garage. One-Eyed Cat is here.
Oh, and by the way, just so everybody knows, congratulations to the One-Eyed Cat. He hit his 500 the other night. He is an official No Name Nationals guy now.
Awesome. Way to go, Don. I mean, he's always in the family, but now he's got his 500, so he's official. Let's see. Jason's Garage made it in, and Lars is here. Yeah, I think that's we'll catch everybody else up as they roll in. And I will tell you guys, if I drop off, I apologize. If I, go digital or
I think we lost Buff. He is froze up.
Whatever that is, bad internet.
So while Buff's froze up.
I apologize now. It's going to happen.
You're kind of froze up, buddy.
Literally just say that.
Eh?
Figured.
You look like you're.
It's just going to happen.
You look like you're stuck in the Matrix, buddy. He left me all alone. He's back.
Am I back?
You're back, buddy.
Well, Fox Can Fix It is right. It is the Aztek with a K, not with a C, mafia hacking into my signal. Some kind of Russian Pontiac conspiracy.
Oh, man.
Because nobody wants to talk about the Pontiac Aztek. Everybody wants it to just go away.
I do. I want to talk about it.
I do too. I like it.
Danny Boyd seems to have a problem with my chair.
The squeaky chair?
Yeah, I mean, it's a free show, man. I can't afford. I'm not getting paid, so can't afford no good stuff.
Danny Boyd got a new chair today.
Oh.
He's excited about that.
Well, I need a new chair, but
I try to stay, fully in tune with our audience's lives. So I like to follow every little bit of their lives. And I know that he got a great deal, about $100 off the new chair, but he's sitting in probably right now.
Well, they do have those really nice, look like racing seat, gaming chairs. I'd like to have one of those.
Yeah, that would work. All right. So as everybody starts rolling in, who wants to talk about the unspeakable Pontiac Aztek?
So it's like the best Pontiac ever made, according to some people.
So it's actually interesting how this whole thing came about. Rob's Rods and Streetcars made it in. Awesome. But so I kind of started looking at the history of this thing, and if you talk to the people that built it, it wasn't a flop. It was only a flop because some GM execs, some upper execs, kind of intervened and kind of killed it before it ever even got to, become fully born.
As they usually do.
Right. So, like, Pontiac debuted this thing in 1999. It was a concept idea in the 80s, and the 80s came out with some really, really cool designs. But this is kind of how it originally was imagined. So they came out with the Cyclone and the Typhoon. And those things are, of course, were hits because you got an all-wheel drive, turbocharged, just, badass on the streets. So they went, how about we take a Blazer or a Typhoon and we mix it with a Camaro. So you got this low slung, wide car up on all-wheel drive, and then give it a power plant to match in some Pontiac style. That was the whole idea. So this thing was supposed to be low and wide with all-wheel drive. And similar to the rendering, it was supposed to be a truly cool vehicle. And it was supposed to have a lot of innovative features, such as the flip-up hatch with the tent and the removable cooler, the modular seats with built-in backpacks. Like, this thing was legit supposed to be cool. And then we all know what happened from that point on, is we got this.
It's not that bad, though.
And this is just the concept. But what they ended up doing in typical GM fashion was they took all those great ideas and they go, let's see, well, we don't want to build a whole new, platform. So let's go with what we got. So they took the Pontiac, I guess it was the Transport, and then it was the Venture, but a minivan. And they shortened it up and they slapped this thing on top of it and went, look, we made a new car. But that took that low and wide vehicle and it made it skinny and tall. And all the angles they built into this thing just stuck out and it became a boxy, ugly, well, according to people selling it, it became one of the ugliest vehicles of all time. Edmunds rated it one of the 50 worst cars of all time. I'm trying to think of what was that other company? Time Magazine, one of the top 50 worst vehicles of all time, one of the top 100 worst vehicles of all time on other magazine sites. Like, people just really want to hate this thing. Even Yahoo Autos named it one of the 10 ugliest cars of all time.
I don't know about that because there's some ugly cars. Have they not seen the 80s Pontiac Le Mans?
I don't think the 80s Pontiac Le Mans even made the list of the 10 ugliest. But boy, the Aztek did. Tony K's right. What about the, where'd that go? The Apollo and the Omega hatchbacks. I mean, you ask the right person, they probably think they're good. But here's what's interesting about this story is that people actually making this vehicle yes, the end result was not what they intended. They only intended to sell about, I don't know, like 75,000 a year, and it was more like 25,000. But when you talk to these people, from beginning to end, their goal was to make the car, and they were doing things that had not been done in GM or Pontiac or any of them for a long time. They took this radical idea and they said, we're going to make it work no matter what. And they didn't want any naysayers. And anybody that talked back or said anything negative about this vehicle, they got booted. So unfortunately, working in that kind of vacuum, you end up with an Aztek that doesn't turn out the way it's supposed to turn out. But at the same time, they took a vehicle that probably should have never been made, and they made it. And with that, if you talk to the people that built it, they think it was a success.
And I believe, let's see, Rajcam 80 made it in here, and he said
Awesome.
the Buick sold more, which I believe is the
Far
Buick,
more. Rendezvous.
the Buick, yeah, Rendezvous.
Far more.
And they're
And it
ugly
lasted
too.
another 2 years. So here was the first iteration of that Aztek. This was the first year of it. And with that, you got the yellow marker lights, that slanted nose, the plastic cladding that we all know just turns to dust and is garbage. And that was it. So then, the interior on the concept was a really bold, striking interior. It had, with a yellow body, it had yellow accents, a yellow steering wheel, yellow seat inserts, yellow dash treatment. Like, it was really cutting edge. But at the end of the day, we got the typical GM gray plastic garbage interior. And then there's the Rendezvous that they were talking about. So yes, it's not as bad as the Aztek, but it's definitely the sister vehicle. And it outsold and it outlasted the Aztek by 2 years.
The only thing I can think of on the Buick is because its body panels are painted, like you said, that plastic, like on the Avalanche and all the other GMs that had it, just look like complete crap after a couple of years.
There's not much you can do with Avalanche, and thankfully it doesn't have cutting on it. It's just that sail panel on the. There's really nothing you can do. Guys say, oh, you can heat it up with a torch, or you can, put this special coating on it. Nothing works except completely stripping the plastic and coming back with stuff called gator back. And that stuff is what GM uses to fix it if you have a warranty issue. But other than that, strip it off and paint it. That's really all you need. And that's why the Buick just looked better, because it didn't have all that garbage plastic on it. But then if you compare the interior of the Aztek to the Rendezvous really isn't that much nicer of an interior, but it's obviously upscale.
Welcome,
Red
Sean
Skim
Wilbur.
says, don't care. Glad they're both not produced.
Buick has always had nicer interior, like through the 90s and the 2000s than the everybody else. Usually they have the leather and all that stuff, but
Right. And all I can say is it's a vehicle that went from concept to production in a way that was not normal for GM or Pontiac. They worked with this certain process and teams and a new way of running the project internally. And that's why they did, not because it sold great or turned out great or anything like that, just the way it was managed. But of course, right before we lost Pontiac, so this, the death bell.
Well, it appears Buff is frozen in time. So the biggest problem with that the Aztec had is they used the 3400 V6. It's a 90-degree V6. They made pretty good power, pretty good torque, but they uh, they had intake gasket problems, and that was when they really started using the plastic intakes or the plastic intake gaskets. The gaskets had the little silicone rubber inserts around them, and they just broke down. And next thing you know, you got coolant in your engine. A lot of people think they have bad head gaskets, and it ends up being a bad intake or a cracked intake or whatever. But yeah, okay, I forgot. Sorry, Jason, I was wrong. It's a 65 or a 60-degree V6.
There you go.
I don't know why I said
But that's
90.
a
That
3.4. Is that correct?
Yeah. Thank you for correcting me, Jason.
Oh, I just had a 3.4 fail me this week.
Yours didn't have the 3.5?
Aha. Oh wait, is mine 3.4 or 3.5?
Should have been
I think the
3.5.
Impala's 3.5. Yeah, you're right. Apparently the
Which I don't.
gaskets were the same, but
Danny Boyd said the new lawnmowers have a plastic carburetor. Yes, I went through that with mine. Why you use plastic on a carburetor? I don't understand using plastic on intake either. I mean, it's just something that gets hot and cold, cycles, stuff like that. It's gonna break and
flexes and
crack
cracks.
eventually.
Yeah.
Well, Hunter's trying to make the Mopar guys mad by talking trash on their thermoquad. Some of those Mopar guys really love the thermoquad. So yeah, the 60-degree V6, because Mr. Fierro guy should know that. I think he lists. I don't know. I guess I'm wrong. I'm confused now because I know the Fiero is a 60-degree because it's like the 2.8 liter, and the rest of them's got the same bolt pattern on the transmission. I don't know. I'm gonna look it up now, just because I'm not sure. Buff, are you back?
I think so. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Perfect. So going back to how this thing even came about, if I don't lose internet, then I'm going to try to tell you this story. So when this thing first became, you give the crazy stuff, the stuff you got in the concept world, and to my desk, and I want to look at it. So this guy gets a hold of it. He starts to look through all this stuff. Jim's kind of flipping through it. Pontiac's taking it. And at the time, they came up with this said it's supposed to be a blend of a Camaro and a Blazer. So it was, in that Chevrolet GM world. And if you look at it, they obviously put a Pontiac spin on it, and it's Pontiac's first SUV attempt. But at the time, they were kind of going down that, aggressive car route, and it didn't end up that way. But they took this whole concept and ran with it. But again, you've got this clashing era of the old school of, top-down leadership where we're going to tell you how it is and you're not going to argue with me. But then you've got this innovative group of people trying to work their way up. It's more of, an open working environment where everyone has an equal say, and the two just didn't mesh well. And at the end of the day, that, totalitarian management style ended up winning out. And because of that, we end up with this, which is, it is what happens when you have, I'm not going to say bad management, but a poor management style when you're trying to innovate. That's the difference. If you're trying to make a specific widget and you have a very exacting way you want to make it and a time frame you want to make it in, then yeah, that works. But when you're trying to innovate and create something new, you've got to have free-flowing ideas, and everybody has to have an equal say. It's just got to flow better. And this came at a time when GM said their, I guess, image was the same old stuff constantly coming out. So they had to do something. So they issued a mandate that 40% of all new vehicles out of GM would be new and innovative. So the Aztek wins out in the innovative category. And basically, they put it in the hands of this guy who said, this thing's going to be a winner, and we're not going to hear any negativity about it. We've already decided before we built the thing, it's going to be a winner, and there's no chance that we're going to let it fail. So they were pushing forward regardless of the, the early, I guess, reviews. They put it out to their key demographic, and they flat out said, nope, we hate it. It's ugly. It's stupid. We don't want it. But Pontiac went, we don't care. We're going to do it anyway. And then every iteration of this vehicle that came out, they would test it out, and they would all come back with, nope, we don't like it. It's ugly. We don't want to buy that. And they just kept pushing in. So that's how we end up with something like that. When you just decide that we're going to push forward even if we fail, then they accepted that idea. Did I see Irish pop in?
Irish popped in, 6% recycled popped in.
Awesome. And don't forget Irish Outlaw tonight after Pontiac Power Hour. He'll be having his Cars and Cussin live around 9:15ish. So roll over to his channel afterwards. Oh, let's see. You guys just love this thing, I'm telling you. So if you guys haven't watched it, you can go on this thing called YouTube and watch the actual debut of the concept. So this idea came clear back in the early 90s, where 80s and 90s, they came up with a lot of cool concept vehicles. And like I think it was like 94, that's where that drawing came from. Let me see if I can go back to that. That's where the idea of the bear claw came from, is in 94. And then of course, fast forward, this was the concept in 99 and 2000. When they debuted this thing, they had decided, like I said, it was not going to fail. They refused to let it fail. So when they debut it, the audience was all, stuffy, stoic, magazines and upper car industry people, not their key demographic. So they hired in a bunch of 20-somethings to come in and build a mosh pit around this thing, so that when they debuted it, it was surrounded by kids. They had rainbow colored hair. They had giant signs, trying to treat it like a rock concert. And in the process, when they debuted it, they had this young guy in a matching parka and his yellow backpack that he threw over his shoulder. And this was supposed to be the young adventurer's vehicle to go out and explore the world. It had the pop-up tent. It had a air mattress, a Pontiac air mattress that would inflate in the back that you could sleep in there. And it had power ports. It had an air compressor to air up your air mattress or tires. It had a console that converted into a cooler, so you could put your drinks and food in there and then grab it, pop it out. And when you open the back hatch, it split open like the old style wagons, and had drink holders built into the tailgate. It had a 10-speaker stereo system, so you could tailgate, with rear stereo controls in the back, so you could control it. The ideas were cool. The execution was really bad.
I really think you need one, buddy.
I want one, but what I want to do with it is a lot different than what even any of these look like. And I've seen it already. People are talking about Breaking Bad. So, everyone just attacked the Aztek over and over and over. But we all know Breaking Bad, that Aztek was one of the characters of the show. That thing got wrecked so many times. It's ridiculous.
I've only seen like 2 episodes of Breaking Bad. Sorry.
Oh, all right. So on your homework list, you got to have that one, and then finish off with El Camino, and then of course Better Call Saul after that. It's a great series.
I tried to get into Breaking Bad. I just couldn't do it. I didn't think it was that great, but
it really is. Like, you have to get through. It's, for me, like everybody tells me, Walking Dead, Game of Thrones, all those that I've not watched clear through, they're like, oh, but you got to keep going. So I can tell you I watched it all the way through. It was pretty good. Better Call Saul was a little harder to get into, but it's good.
See, now I did watch The Walking Dead.
Yeah, see, I didn't get all the way through that one. Okay, so Jason's Garage is right. So you could order the tent package with your Aztek, and I think I actually have a picture of one. There you go. And with that, you get a strap-on tent that actually pops out from the back. You can zip it closed, and then run the AC in your vehicle. And there's always concern of carbon monoxide, but with the inflatable mattress in the back, you can sleep comfortably. You can sleep too comfortably in the back. The seats fold down flat, and then you have a tent, and you just unzip and pop out, and you're ready for your day. Put you a kayak on the roof, or whatever.
Yeah, there was. I don't know. I would drive one.
I think I would. I mean, I plan on getting one, but holy cow, they're either $1,000 for a dead one, or they want $7 or $8 grand for one, and I'm telling you, they ain't worth $7 or $8 grand. They were barely worth that new. Oh, Rajcam likes the 63 olds. Thank you. There's more to come on that. I'm trying to get an engine going for it, and if I can get an engine going for it, it's going to drop in, and then things are going to move after that. I like it too. It's a great car. Oh, Rhonda.
You are very welcome, sir. I'm glad you could find use for the stuff I sent you. Some of that is off of the Punisher car, so you have part of the Punisher car now.
Well, Halfwit Labs is here. Nice to see you in the chat. Shopcat made it in.
So
sorry if we miss you guys. You guys are scrolling through pretty quick there.
We're talking about The Walking Dead, and I cried on the very first episode of The Walking Dead because in the first freaking 10 minutes of the movie, they total out a GTO, and it just broke my heart.
Well, if you're in The Walking Dead, this is the Aztek you need.
That thing's legit.
Like, they did some body mods on this thing, and they did a little suspension upgrade, put some big meats on there. That thing, I think it could do some work.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So
think
at least it stays alive, not just in the the world of television and movies, but these guys really take it to the next level with some of their ideas. If you take an Aztec, slam it down on the ground like this, put you some splitters on it and some wide rims. I mean, that thing looks like it could move.
I do like it. I mean, I would drive it.
Colleen's asking what year. Free, free or really close to free. That's my favorite year of just about every vehicle.
Oh man.
My latest van that we're looking at is well, you guys are going to see it. If you haven't seen it yet, you're going to see it. I'm going to revive it tomorrow, hopefully, and then you guys will get to see all about it. And then we're going back to the seized up engines and try to get those running. But yeah, it's
So
free or near free is my favorite price.
so is the van yours?
The one I showed you?
Yeah.
No,
Oh.
it's another marketplace find. That once I told them what I do with YouTube, and I kind of showed them what the idea of what it is, and we get to tell the story of the van and all that. Thankfully, the price came down quite a bit, and it makes it so that it's feasible to try to do a revive and drive. But since I lost the Impala, like literally lost the Impala, it broke down on the side of the road, was supposed to be towed. Tow company couldn't find it. It was lost for 5 days. Nobody knew where it went. It just disappeared off the side of the road. Oh well, but they found it. They're getting it sent off to get it appraised and figured out what they're going to do with it. But in the meantime, I've got a rental and I've got to find something else. So in YouTube fashion, we're regrouping and we're going to try another reviving.
So what's going to happen with the van?
The van?
Yeah.
I'll own it till someone offers me enough to buy it. That's really where we're at. And I've already got one offer, not you. But that doesn't mean you can't offer it.
Well, I currently
A certain guy with a pole barn garage was interested.
Oh my gosh.
He saw that. He's like, hey, I want that. And I'm like, too late. It's fine.
He's got enough stuff.
I think he's always looking.
He's got a cool van that he needs to finish, the 4-wheel drive one. That thing is awesome.
So I think he's trying to finish that darn Silver Dollar Chevy. If he can get that thing finished, then I think it's full bore on the 454 swap into that. And if that happens, yeah, it's game on. Yeah. How about this one? Come on, Pontiac fans. That's cool.
That's freaking cool. I would definitely drive the crap out of that.
Like, this would be cool with some T-tops on it. Just because. Hey, Fox, I think that he determined that van was like some kind of plumbing company, but don't quote me on that. I think that's what they came up with. And Rad Robot. Yeah, he's not selling that AMC, brother. Sorry. He loves that thing way too much.
I say he told me that's one of his favorite vehicles.
Yeah, that ain't going anywhere. If it does, he better call me first. Yeah, he has the blue donor van that whatever doesn't go into the white Ludwig van, I'm going to take to put on my van if I actually get it. Like, I'm pretty sure it's all going to happen tomorrow, but you guys will see that next week.
I'm supposed to be getting the transmission out of that blue van, but
the blue van, and then yeah, Irish owes him a transmission for the I think the Silver Dollar Chevy. I don't know. You're right. He's got a lot to keep track of that I can't. I'm getting too many to keep track of now. Did I see Dakota getting in here?
You did.
Awesome.
Dakota?
So 6% recycled asked about Aztek exhaust shop. If I build an Aztek, it's going to have exhaust shop. There's no doubt about that. There you go. The 2-door Aztek. This was the one that was making its rounds on social media.
And that thing's pretty cool.
If Breaking Bad had that, he would have never sold it.
Well, but didn't he not have any money? Isn't that why he was cooking meth?
Right. He was trying to make money to pay for his cancer treatments.
Right.
Yep. Gavin Wilburn, you need a red shirt and a cowboy hat. You can drive that Trans Am Aztek. That'd be cool.
Would that be a Trans Tech or an Azam?
I have no words. I have no idea. Oh, Iris says he has the actual transmission. All right, we got that figured out. Cool. Is it a prototype? No, it's not a prototype. They basically, this is somebody's artist rendition. They took an Aztek and they have really good computer skills. That wasn't me, and they reshaped it on their whoever that Instagram is on your screen, whatever that says there, Sketch Monkey. There you go. Go see the Sketch Monkey on Instagram.
That guy actually has some. Yeah, you should definitely check out his Instagram. He does some really cool stuff. Actually, he's done some stuff. Made me stop and be like, "Is that a rendering or is it a real car?"
Right, dude's got talent for sure.
And you have to stump me. Like, I'm not saying that I know every car, but usually I can tell when it's a rendering or. There's a lot of people who post video game stuff on there. They're like, "Man, check out what this car does." I'm like, that's a game."
So here's a question from that Fiero guy. What if instead of an Aztek or a Trans Am, they used a Fiero? Would it be Burnt Reynolds? Sorry, too soon?
Oh, man.
Burt was a cool guy.
There's a chance they wouldn't have never made it because the Fiero would have broke down. I'm just saying.
It couldn't handle the jumps and stuff. That would have been it. Oh, there you go. The Trans Amish. Something is amish. But all right. Well, what else, you guys? So we all know what this thing is. How it came about was, force feeding this thing out into the world, regardless of any feedback. They didn't care. It was going to succeed. It obviously didn't. This thing was so high priced that their target demographic couldn't even afford the base model, let alone any of these fancy ones that came out. But, the whole key demographic was trying to get a hold of this thing, and they couldn't afford it. It was about 10 grand out of their price range. So it was a failure all around with the looks, with the design, with the platform they used. It was underpowered. It was built, really. Like, they really didn't put the time and effort into it needed. And at the end of the day, it was overpriced and undersold.
I can honestly say that I think the Honda Element pulled off what Pontiac tried to do with the Aztek.
Yep.
And they're uglier than the Aztek. I'm just going to say.
Well, this was one of the first boxy SUVs that took like a car van platform and made it into an SUV versus a full-fledged off-road style chassis SUV. And so it kind of paved the way for a lot of these car SUV hybrid things that we mean, if you look at this the way it is right now, doesn't it look like a new like Chevy SUV?
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
I don't know all the names of the new ones because they're all basically the same vehicle, just from the Blazer on up. They all look a lot like this.
I'm just gonna say that my wife has a Kia Sorento, and we parked it next to a Land Rover thing, and they look the same. I was like, and
Everybody's copying everybody now.
they they all kind of look the same anymore, and that's why I hate SUVs now.
It's really disappointing for sure. So Half-Wit Labs, yes, the Buick Rendezvous, it did outsell, and it was alive a couple years longer. But the Aztek sealed the fate of Pontiac. Not just the Aztek, but all the other mistakes they were making along the way. It didn't pan out, which is it sucks because we all love the brand, but they couldn't pull it together.
Yeah, they tried to revive it with the G8, which
It
unfortunately
had
didn't.
potential. Like there was a chance. It just didn't make it. All right, we looked through all that. I mean, Walter White, working his Heisenberg image there in his Aztek. That's what he needed right there. For that.
Of all those you showed, the green one's the coolest.
This one? Whoops, that one.
Yeah, that one. No, not
Yep.
the other, not the one with the tint. That one.
Yeah. But you put a tint on that one and you're ready to go. Put some off-road lights on it. I guess it's got the big LED up top there.
Yeah, they probably drive with that on because that's what the people around here do.
All right, sister had the Rendezvous piece of junk. Well, and the reason why, again, bad GM plastics of that era. The drivetrain was basically your minivan drivetrain, and those weren't overly well built at all. And they just slapped on a prettier body than the Aztek had. So they weren't. GM kind of shot themselves in the foot with that whole thing.
John Wilburn said, "Oh, now I lost it."
Definitely not a 63 Grand Prix or 70 Le Mans. Nope, you are correct.
John Wilburn says, "Who all played in the ugly wars of Y2K? Pontiac Aztek, Honda Element, that weird Suzuki."
Yep.
I'm just going to say in the early 2000s, there really wasn't that many great looking cars. I mean, we had the Grand
Scion
Prix.
XB, the Toaster. Yep. The X90.
Okay, I kind of like that. I'm just going to say
And
they make pretty kick-ass off-road vehicles.
people didn't like the Geo Tracker back when they made the Geo Tracker, but try to find one today. They're hard to find.
Yeah, they sell for quite a bit of money because people realize that they're amazing off the road with a little bit of modifications.
Yep. What a Nissan Cube, PT Cruiser, the Vehicross, one of the top 10 ugliest, according to Yahoo, the Vehicross. Right up there with the Aztek.
Yeah, I can agree.
Depending on who you talk to, some people love that thing. They think it's the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, but some people think the PT Cruiser was cool too, and I had never liked those things.
Now, we had one in our family, the convertible one with the turbo. That thing was zippy, but oh god, it was uncomfortable. It rattled. It was not a great vehicle.
They basically took the Neon SRT4 motor and put it in a freaking PT Cruiser.
I mean, it was quick, but it was garbage. And yes, the Tracker is a sidekick. It's all Suzuki parts.
Yeah.
But crappy GM plastics on the inside.
And let's not forget that in Canada, you had a Pontiac version.
That's right. We talked about that in an episode.
Yes,
All right,
sir.
let's put this guy away. Give me 1 minute. Boom. And as always, we're headed back to Pontiac Trivia with Super Clean sponsoring it. Oh, HHR. Yeah, I mean, that's basically the PT Cruiser Chevy version, right? They're still talking about the Tracker and PT Cruiser. All right, guys, you know how this works. Pontiac Trivia, put your best guess in the chat. We want to see if you guys know your Pontiac Aztek trivia. And I know you're not going to know one of the answers, Ray, because it's directly related to Breaking Bad.
Ah,
But I know your kid's probably going to get it. All right. This thing, the concept debuted in 2000 with the tagline, quite possibly the most versatile vehicle on the planet. So what 2000 TV show featured the Aztek? Was it CSI Miami? Was it Survivor? Was it Big Brother? Or was it Jackass?
I'm going to go with Survivor.
All right. What do you guys think in the chat? John Wilburn, Prius is a player in the Ugly Ward. You're not wrong.
The Honda Insight is uglier than the Prius, so I'm just going to say that out loud.
But that's saying it's hard to find those now. All right, Rajcam's actually trying tonight. Let's see.
That was the first venture of Honda into the
right, kind of the electric world, right?
Yeah.
All right, you got lots of B's and C's, and there's an A and a D, B, D, kind of all over the place. Dakota wants it to be D. Don't we all? But let's be clear. If it was on Jackass, wouldn't it have been blown up or something? Right, ride a skateboard over it? I don't know. And yeah, Shopcat mentioned it. Nathan's been passing out some stickers for his channels. If you haven't gotten one, maybe hit him up, see if he can get you one, because I got one in the mail. So I'm one of the first ones to get a Nathan's Mopar Garage sticker.
Well, I don't have one.
John Wilburn says he remembers it on Survivor. All right, so the answer is Survivor.
I knew it.
Yep, and contestant Richard Hatch actually won a Pontiac Aztek for his, I guess, success on the show. I don't know if that's a win or not. I mean, it had to be yellow because that's, like, oh, I got a minivan looking thing. Mongrels is right. Dark Angel, that's why it wasn't one of the answers.
I don't know.
All right. That's TV show from the 2000s.
I honestly, I don't watch that much TV. If it's not like Roadkill or Finnegan's Garage or something like that, then I don't watch it.
All right. Next question, guys. What lead designer of the Pontiac Aztek also designed the C7 Corvette? I'm looking at you, Mr. Polo. You got to know this one. Was it A, Bob Lutz, B, Ben Salvador, C, Tom Peters, or D, John Albert? The hills are on fire everywhere. That's the beauty of having a mobile show. I can look out the window and everything's on fire. It's grass burning season in Kansas.
See, Mr. Polo C4 is not going to get it because he thinks the C4 is the best Corvette, which is a wrong opinion, but
you're either a New Balance and khaki wearing Corvette owner or you're not. Let's see. Hunter says C. Shopcat says C. ASO C. Oh my gosh, lots of C's. Danny Boyd's got a D. Dakota says Tom Petty. Close. Oh, who wants a Subaru Brat? Those are cool. John Wilburn, the guy who got overruled a lot. Yeah, he did, actually. Nathan says E, which is never a wrong answer. Jason says C. The Arrow guy says A. Rajcam A. And more A's and C's and stuff.
I would love to have a Subaru Brat. I'm just saying.
Yeah, good luck finding one. Those are really cool. Had the backward seats in the back.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
saved them on tariffs in coming into the U.S. because if they didn't have those seats, it was considered one type of vehicle, but it had seats, so they changed the designation. It's really smart.
I'm just going to say, how the crap did that pass our safety inspection?
It was a add-on after the fact just to defeat the import tariff.
Because, like, if
Very
you're
clever.
facing backwards, like the old station wagons, and somebody rear ends you, you're going to be like, oh, this is going to suck.
For sure. All right. The answer is, for those, pretty much everybody got it right. It was Tom Peters. So he did create the original concept design. It did, of course, get modified onto this van chassis. It became tall and skinny and just not exactly what he had created. But the original idea was very, innovative. And then the whole idea was they were trying to take this concept world and bring it to the production world and not have the same problem that Ford Taurus did when it completely redesigned itself and flopped. When the Ford Taurus was redesigned, even though it was still a good seller, people hated the new version. So they didn't want that in the Pontiac world, but instead they created a flop right out of the gate.
I have a question. People actually like the original Ford Taurus?
They did. It sold like crazy.
They came from the factory with a bad transmission.
People didn't care. They sold a lot of them, and the Mercuries, they did. Cool, Dodge Rampage. That's cool.
I actually like those. I would take one.
Yep. Again, my favorite year is free.
The Dodge Rampage is on the Chrysler K platform. The K car, the most popular Chrysler ever made, and the crappiest one.
Let me see. Wasn't Taurus best-selling car in '86? I think it was best-selling car a lot of years.
I will say my friend's parents had a Taurus SHO, and whoo, I think
Look at that.
Pretty good.
Just Mopar Joe in the house.
What up,
Mopar Joe? We're talking about the one and only Pontiac Aztek because we've warned everybody it was going to happen, and it did. And if all of my cars get sold in the next year, I'm buying a Pontiac Aztek, calling it Breaking Bad, dropping it on a race chassis, and we're going to go, drag racing. But I got to sell all my other cars first. All right, next question, guys. Now, focused on a youthful, we talked about this. They were really trying to hit that 20-something demographic. What was the base price of the 2001 Pontiac Aztek? Was it A, $16,495, B, $18,629, C, $20,446, or D, $24,995?
I'm going to go
right
with
out
C.
of the gate. These guys are with C. You got C.
I'm trying to remember, actually.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah,
2001, just a couple of days ago.
Some of these guys in the chat was just barely born, and some of them wasn't born yet.
Yeah, probably not. Oh, we got all kinds of answers. Joe's got a B, Colleen C, ASO says A, Shopcat says C.
Halfwit says all those answers were too much.
Absolutely were. Again, you got that key demographic you're trying to sell to. They got a limited budget. All right, more people with the C. Piero guy's a Zoomer. All right, correct answer, guys, is D. Believe it or not, the absolute bare bones base price Aztek was $24,995, which was considered almost 10 grand higher than their key demographic could even afford. So failure right out of the gate.
What's up with those? What's up with those wheels? That looks like something Mr. Polo C4 would like.
That was the concept vehicle's wheels, and that was supposed to be on all of them. And so that first and second year that they made them, they had a very similar wheel they created, but that wheel that they created was just hideous.
What did I tell you?
Yep, he's all about those wheels. That screams late 90s, early 2000s.
I have always hated 3-spoke wheels. I don't.
Yes, Hunter, we have to talk concept because we got to talk about the full history of this beast. So that one right there on your screen is the one they debuted in 99, 2000.
I'm just
you don't like
say,
the wheels? Those are just amazing wheels.
I think Hunter is like 70 going on 17.
He is an old soul for sure. And so Danny Boyd, the original idea, if you go back to the sketch, it was supposed to be a low, wide car with like an SUV attitude. It was supposed to be what I kind of think of like as that apocalypse rig, you know, it's supposed to be able to go out on adventures and be this low and wide and, you know, wide track. I mean, a Pontiac, right? It's supposed to have a wide track and aggressive tires. And that's what the idea was. But then they put it on that skinny van chassis and you end up with, well, what we got. All right, last question, guys. Let's test your TV knowledge. So in the hit TV show Breaking Bad, which I wrote Break Bad, apparently not Breaking Bad, but how much did Walter White sell his Pontiac Aztek for? Was it A, $1, B, $50, C, $200, or D, $4,999? Oh, CRV talk. We're slamming CRV or slamming the Aztek for the CRV. Just because they're still running doesn't mean they're better.
I'm just going to tell you that I was going down the road, Range Line here in Joplin the other day, and coming at me is a early Honda CRV that slammed a big ass intercooler hanging out the bottom of the bumper. I'm like, okay.
It's legit. It'll do.
I don't think that's stock.
All right, let's see. Dakota said C. Fierro guy said B. Danny Boyd said D. Sand Mountain says B. Nathan says B. Lots of B's. Dakota's never watched the show. All right, that's a good reason. Wendy said E. 6% says E. Again, never a wrong answer. Also not the right answer. 38 POS says A. Mongrel says B. The Arrow guy's still coming back with B. Fox says $1, Bob. Halfwit says 100, which isn't even an answer.
I'll guess. I'll go with C.
All right. Let's see. All right, we got like a minute left, and the answer is B, $50. So after he crashed it for like the third or fourth time, he ran into drug dealers, he smashed it into oncoming traffic, he lost the windshield at least 3 or 4 times. He finally gets it into the mechanic who fixed it for the final time on the show, and the mechanic says, you know, why do you keep fixing this thing up? And at this point in the show, there's a lot of drama going on. And Walter White, who's now Heisenberg, decides he's going to sell it for $1 for every year of his old life, and then he's going to have himself a new life with his new money and his new career as this, drug kingpin. So he sells it for $50. There was an actual purpose to that. $1 for every year of his life. And with that, thank you guys for playing along. We always appreciate your answers in the chat. And let me see who needs. Scrolling through who had the best answers. That Fierro guy tried really, really, really hard. I see so many wrong answers. But where'd it go?
The Fierro guy says I won easy.
Well, you did have a lot of good answers. So that Fierro guy, if you need another prize pack, you hit me up and we'll get you one. Negative $100. I'm going with 50. That's what I saw. Yep, Reg, I got your email. I've sent it off to them, and hopefully you'll be getting your prize pack very soon. All right, we'll get out of there. I have a lot of stuff I'm working on, unfortunately. I have been home one night this week between work and, other car projects. And I'm gone tomorrow, and I'm going to try to hit you up Saturday, right? 6 a.m. Did I lose you? Hello? Well, apparently I lost Ray. I didn't lose me, did I? All right. If you guys are still there, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to head over to Irish Outlaw Garage here in a little bit. He's going to have his Cars and Custom live talk. And with that, we will catch you guys next week.